Believe it or not, there are US towns where you can buy a house for prices so shockingly low. You'll swear it's a scam, but I promise, these places are very real. Some are struggling, some are historic, some are downright wild. There's opportunity, risk, and a ton of stories to unpack. Today we're diving into 25 of these towns, breaking down why the prices are so cheap and what life there might actually look like. Let's start at number 25, Springfield, Illinois. This one's a classic. As the state capital, Springfield has history, but its housing market has struggled. Many homes, especially older ones, are deeply discounted. Some are fixer-uppers, sure, but others are livable, solid standard houses that are simply priced low because of population stagnation and limited demand. It's a place where you can own a piece of history and not pay through the roof. At number 24, Weirton, West Virginia, you're looking at a steel town legacy. Once booming, Weirton's industry faded, and so did its population. That industrial decline hit home values hard. But the flip side, with low prices comes serious potential for anyone willing to live in a smaller city, affordable housing, quiet neighborhoods, and a low cost of living. The trade-off? Fewer high-paying job options. Moving on to Decatur, Illinois, number 23 on our list. This isn't just cheap, it's almost unbelievably cheap for a city of this size. Decatur has a history of manufacturing, but like many Midwestern towns, its local economy has shrunk, leaving behind empty or undervalued homes. Some of these houses are perfectly serviceable. Others need work. But if you're looking for entry-level real estate, this could be one of the most accessible places in the US. At number 22, Enid, Oklahoma, you get something that feels very small-town friendly. Open skies, a slower pace, and a really low housing cost. Enid's economy revolves around agriculture, energy, and a few regional businesses, which means jobs are there, but they're not exploding. For someone who values space and affordability over hustle and bustle, Enid could be a dream. It's not glamorous, but it's quiet, it's steady, and your mortgage could be shockingly low. Number 21, Bay City, Michigan is next, a classic Rust Belt pick. Bay City's housing market dropped hard as the manufacturing industry declined, and even now many homes are priced well below the national average. But being cheap doesn't mean unlivable. Bay City is on the Saginaw Bay, so you've got waterfront history, parks, and a community that still sticks around. If you can handle the cold and want cheap real estate, this might be one of the better bets. Number 20. Mission, Texas has a totally different vibe. Border town, warm weather, and a cost of living that feels friendly. Real estate in Mission can be surprisingly affordable, especially for first-time buyers or remote workers. You don't necessarily get big skyscrapers, but what you do get is access to all the basics, inexpensive housing, and a community that feels close-knit. If the Texas sun doesn't scare you, Mission deserves a look. Number 19, Eagle Pass. Texas comes in hot on this list too. Right on the border with Mexico, the city has a lot of cultural cross-pollination. Home prices are low, especially in older neighborhoods or small-town subdivisions. Jobs are more limited, and wages aren't high, but if you're coming in looking for a low cost of living and are okay with slower economic growth, this is one of the most affordable cities in Texas. Now number 18 is Springfield again. Yeah, the same name, different flavor. But weirder fact, there could be multiple Springfields in lists like this because Springfield is one of those super common city names. Depending on which Springfield is on the list, the housing market could vary. Some are very small, rural, and nearly forgotten. Others, like this one, have government institutions, older infrastructure, and real estate that hasn't bounced back with the rest of the country. Number 17, Warren, Michigan. Let's talk about Warren. It's suburban Detroit, but it's taken a beating like many of its neighbors. Vacant homes, aging infrastructure, and less demand than you'd expect from a city so close to a major metro area. But for buyers with cash or someone who doesn't mind rehabbing, Warren offers massive potential. Prices are low, and the upside, if things go right, could be big. Though, of course, the risk is there. Number 16 is Flint, Michigan. Flint's name alone probably makes you think of the water crisis, downturns, and risky investment. But because things got so bad for so long, housing has stayed extremely affordable. Yes, there's crime. Yes, the city has serious systemic problems. But for someone who can manage risk, some homes are selling for a fraction of what you'd pay anywhere else. It's the kind of place where affordability meets controversy head-on. Number 15. Toledo, Ohio. Now this one is a bit more optimistic. Toledo's industrial past is still very present, but the city has room to grow again. Real estate is very cheap compared to national norms, and there are pockets where you can buy a decent home for what it would cost to rent in other cities. Still, job opportunities are uneven, so this is a pick with upside if you're realistic about what life here might involve. Number 14. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yes, that's Scranton. Famous from TV, but also real. Rust Belt economy, industrial roots, and housing that's super cheap compared to Philly or New York. Many homes in Scranton are older, some need work, but the cost of living is real, and for thoughtful buyers, it's one of the most underappreciated cities on the East Coast. Number 13. Rochester, New York. Upstate New York doesn't always get the spotlight, but Rochester makes this list for a reason. Great schools, good quality of life, if you like varying seasons, and houses that are predominantly very affordable. There are trade-offs, taxes, snowfall, and a slower economy. But the upside is real. For the right buyer, Rochester can be a beautiful, budget-friendly place to live. Number 12. St. Louis, Missouri. Urban, historic, and surprising when it comes to housing costs. St. Louis has neighborhoods that look like they belong in a postcard. Brick homes, walkable streets, but the prices are nowhere near what you'd pay in many coastal metros. Vacancies have driven down costs, and for investors or residents looking to stretch their dollar, St. Louis is a major opportunity. Number 11. Detroit, Michigan shows up twice on some of these cheapest city lists, and for good reason. The city has been through a lot, but when it comes to real estate, there are gems. And by gems, I mean extremely cheap houses. Some need massive rehab, some are solid but undervalued. It's a place of paradox, high crime in some parts, but also incredible architectural potential and a legacy that still holds weight. Number 10. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This one surprises people because it's not exactly forgotten. Pittsburgh has tech, universities, and culture, but still housing is cheap relative to many coastal cities. Some neighborhoods are booming, others are more affordable. You could live in a charming brick row house here without breaking the bank. Number 9. Memphis, Tennessee. Music, southern food, and really cheap real estate in places. Some homes here are priced way below the national median, especially in older or less developed neighborhoods. The job market isn't perfect, but if you love southern hospitality, food, and culture, Memphis could be a bargain lifestyle pick. Number 8. McAllen, Texas. This border city is unique. Warm climate, a very affordable cost of living, and home prices that often shock outsiders. For someone looking to live in Texas without paying Texas-sized housing costs, McAllen is a hidden gem. The city is growing too, so there's potential, though infrastructure and services could keep up or lag, depending on where you look. Number 7. Waycross, Georgia is even more off the beaten path. This is not Atlanta. This is small-town Georgia. But houses, very affordable. The pace is slow, the population is smaller, and local industry isn't booming like the big cities. But that's why real estate is so cheap. For someone who doesn't mind quiet, Waycross might look like a deal too good to be true. Number 6. Hermitage, Pennsylvania, a smaller city with a serious affordability bend. Located in the western part of the state, Hermitage's housing market has struggled. But because of that, there are good opportunities for buyers. It's quiet, it's stable, and for those willing to be patient, it's a place where your dollar can go a long way. Number 5. Platte City. Missouri shows up on this list, but this isn't an archaic rural area. This is a smaller city close to Kansas City, and yet home prices are very, very reasonable. It's the kind of place where you could move and still be in the metro, but pay very little compared to a big city. Suburbs or small mid-sized towns like this are increasingly attractive for affordability seekers. Number 4. Atchison Village, California. Wait, California? Yes, California. But not Silicon Valley or LA. Atchison Village is a very small, older residential community with deeply affordable housing compared to sprawling urban California. It's a wild entry on this list because people don't usually think of California when they imagine cheap houses. But this place proves you can find bargains even there if you look in the right spots. Number 3. Yankton, South Dakota. This one is small but mighty. Small town feel, low population density, and houses that don't cost much. Yankton's economy is built on agriculture, tourism, and local business, not massive corporate offices, which keeps housing demand modest. If you like open skies, outdoor recreation, and the kind of peaceful pace that feels like a throwback, this might be your perfect spot. Number 2. Price, Utah is a surprising entry. It's not one of Utah's glamorous ski towns or desert cities. It's a real working town with roots in mining and energy. But home prices here are markedly lower. The cost of living isn't negligible, but if you're looking for a place where $100,000 or less can still buy something livable, price deserves your attention. And finally, number 1. Detroit, Michigan takes the top spot on this list for its jaw-dropping affordability. Yes, it's the same city mentioned earlier, but the list doubles down on it for a reason. Some blocks are incredibly cheap, property is widely available, and the cost per square foot can be literally under what many pay for rent in other cities. But with that prize comes massive risk. Detroit's population decline, crime in certain neighborhoods, and infrastructure challenges remain very real. So why are these towns so cheap? A few common themes: shrinking or stagnant populations, industrial decline, aging housing stock, and local economies that haven't fully recovered. In many of these places, home values never fully bounced back after the decline of manufacturing, or they never saw massive gentrification. But that same reality is what makes them potential gold mines for buyers who are realistic, patient, and willing to take on some risk. Here are a few additional truths to think about if you're considering one of these towns. Cheap real estate often means more than just a low upfront cost. Utilities, taxes, and maintenance might not be cheap. Job opportunities can be limited or specialized. If you're relocating, make sure there's something for you to earn, not just somewhere to live. Infrastructure and amenities may lag. Public transportation, healthcare, and education might not be as robust as in high-growth cities. Resale risk is real. Because demand is low, it could take time to sell a property, especially if the market doesn't pick up. But on the flip side, your dollar stretches further. You could own a large property or multiple units, or simply save a ton each month. And if demand comes back, you might be perfectly positioned for long-term gains. At the end of the day, these 25 towns aren't mysteries. They're opportunities. Some are waiting for revival, others are quiet because they're steady. And a few might be exactly what you need. Affordable housing, a slower pace, and a life that's just a little more manageable. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see deep dives on specific cheap housing markets, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Which town shocked you the most? Drop a comment below and tell me where you'd move if you could buy a house for $50,000.